You know, I may be a goody two-shoes, but I don't like rules. Unless they're my own rules. But to be clear, these rules aren't for you. These are rules for me when I'm styling my own short torso body. And then I also have rules for when I break my rules, because really there's no rules in style. It's not really that deep. But after 3 years of sharing short torso advice on YouTube, these are my go-to tips. My first rule is I only wear high neck tops. Now remember, I'm gonna tell you how to break this rule too. When you have a short torso, you wanna make it look longer, mainly just at least more proportionate. So there's 2 ways you can do that. You can either make your torso look longer downwards or upwards. So a high neck top gives you a nice color block to be able to lengthen your torso up. And I find solids work best with this because a solid is a really clear, distinct line of where that color block is to give you that nice long torso. And when I say high neck, that's really as high of a neck as you can handle. Some people, like me, have longer necks, so we can go turtlenecks, high mock necks, that's all fine. But maybe you have a shorter neck. Again, I'm gonna tell you how to break this rule. High necks can also be crew necks, high halter necks. It really comes down to what works best with your neck length. You don't wanna get rid of your neck. You can just use part of your neck to make your torso a little bit longer. But honestly, this tip is my go-to, easiest to implement tip to just make any top work for me. But that doesn't mean I only wear high neck tops. All right, let's talk about how to break these rules. So the thing I have against V-necks and scoop necks and any kind of deep neckline is that they cut your torso in half. You get a block around your bust and your waist area, and then you get kind of a broken up block around your upper chest and shoulders. To balance that out and keep those lines really vertical and noticeable, I either want thick straps or long sleeves with my V-necks or scoop necks. Another option is wearing a top that has less contrast with my skin tone. Less contrast means it's less noticeable. So for my really light skin, if I'm wearing a cream color V-neck, it's not really as noticeable than if I was wearing a black V-neck. The third option is matching my tops to my pants. That way I'm lengthening that torso waist block downwards into my pants and elongating my torso that way. My second rule is one I recently mentioned in a video, but I do take it a step further to apply it to my own body type. And that is I match the rise on my pants with the neckline on my top. So a high neck with a high rise pant and a V-neck with a low rise pant. Now I take this one step further by also matching my inseam. So if my rise is high, my inseam is high. If my rise is low, my inseam is low. Mainly I do this to avoid the opposite. If you have a high-rise pant with a long inseam, your legs are gonna look really long. And now there's nothing wrong with long legs. I'm a long leg person myself, but when I'm highlighting my long legs, I don't have the ability to make up some of those proportions in the upper half of my body because of my short torso. High necks definitely help, but if my pants are going all the way to the floor or if they're puddling on the floor, that is when it's really hard to feel like I fit in my body. Going to the other side of the coin, if I'm wearing a low rise with a short inseam, that just makes me feel like my pants are too short. Like I'm wearing child pants and I just don't fit into them. Does it work out that perfectly all of the time? No. It's taken me a long time to learn some of these rules, which means I own a lot of pants that don't fit into those categories. So instead of going out and buying new pants, let's break these rules and show what I do when the pants aren't perfect with my neckline or my inseam. So when an item is presenting challenges, I match it. Problem pair of pants, match those pair of pants with my top. This makes your outfit and your body and the pieces that you're wearing one vertical piece rather than a bunch of pieces mixed together. And all of your challenges are suddenly less challenging. When pieces are easily styled and maybe look more proportioned on you, you can choose them in any color. But when they start to get challenging, that's when I start to match them. Monochrome outfits are like an ace for any body type, and it's why they look so good on everyone. One of my absolute favorite rules is wearing an all one color outfit and then a different color on the shoe. This is because your shoes are like your platform to the rest of your body and your outfit. It's the one part of your outfit that is always touching the ground. So I use that as a foundation. And just like a house's foundation is a little bit different to set it up off of the ground, I kind of treat my shoes the same. And a really easy way to do that is when your shoes are a different color. It's like, here's my foundation and then here's my outfit, which shortens my legs just enough to feel like I might be able to make up my proportions and feel more balanced just in the outfit I'm wearing, not including my shoes. Now that doesn't mean that you can't wear your shoes in the same color as the rest of your outfit. There's just one little detail I would change. So when you wear shoes that are the same color as your pants, it just makes your legs look really long. And when that happens, you may wish your upper body was taller. So you can still make a platform with your shoes by showing some skin at the ankle. This is why straight leg pants and ankle pants work so well with short torso body types, because those are the leg types where you just get really crisp, clean, simple lines on your legs that aren't too distracting or overwhelming or overpowering. They're just really easy to use. So you pair that with some skin and suddenly you have a platform that your shoes are, even though they are the same color. You'll feel like your legs are the right length for your body. Now I'm going to break my own rule breaker here because there's one exception when I match my shoes to my pants without showing skin, and that's when I'm wearing a long coat. This keeps my legs from looking busy and distracting from the rest of my outfit. But if I plan on removing the coat at some point, I'll ignore this rule since the coat is temporary. Another rule I mostly follow is that I only wear straight leg and slim fit pants. This is partially personal preference, but if you were to choose a bootleg or boot cut or flare leg jean, this is the same advice I would follow. In addition to matching your rise with your inseam, I would also make sure that that inseam is never too long that it's breaking. Or right now, a really popular way to say it is puddling. If you have too many puddles or too many breaks in your pants, it actually puts a lot of visual weight around your ankles. And if you have particularly long legs, that really throws myself out of balance and out of proportion when I feel like if I'm wearing something that's puddling at the bottom, then the rest of my body should be taller. And so instead, by making sure that all of my pants are perfectly tailored, which I'm not really good about doing, but when I get it done, I get a lot done. That is when I feel really confident in what I'm wearing because it's fitting my body. My long legs are being complimented. They're not looking like they're too short or too long because I can't make up some of that space. Something that's important to note is I used to give that piece of advice and then move on, and I said wide leg pants aren't good for short torso bodies because the volume is really overwhelming, which to a point is true. Wide leg pants have a lot of volume, long legs have a lot of volume. It can be a difficult combination, but wide leg pants are on trend right now, so it became my little secret mission to find ones that could work with my body type. So here's my rule breaker. Because wide leg pants are so much volume on my legs, that means I want to make up that volume in other places. Not necessarily in volume, but more in like visual volume. If my wide leg pants are making long legs, I want to make sure my torso looks proportionate with those really long legs. And the best way to do that I have found is making sure that those wide leg pants are paired with something tight on top and that they have elastic in them so that I can move them as far down as they can go. I know there are wide leg pants that are considered lower rise, but those are really hard to find. I'm finding most wide leg pants are high rise, and that elastic allows me to wear them a little bit lower. Now my next rule. Highly controversial. Every time I say it, I'm going to get comments that say, but I can't do it. That's okay. These are my rules. You can break them, you can take them, you can ignore them, but I always tuck in my tops. So much so, in fact, that I don't have a this is how I break my rule. I always tuck in my tops. I guess the one like fine print detail is if it's a blouse that has a particular hem. And I have a reason for this, so just hear me out. As I previously covered, I choose my inseam, my hem, my rise, my neckline very intentionally. And if I don't tuck in my top, that rise kind of doesn't matter. So all these things that I chose could be still thrown completely off balance if I don't at least half tuck my top to show where that rise is. It's really hard to find tops to hit exactly where you want them to, which is saying something because it's really hard to find perfect fitting jeans. But I think tucking highlights my waist and then also just generally looks more stylish. And I honestly don't think I'll ever break this rule, but I will let you know if that opinion changes because there's a lot of things I've changed my opinion on because I've pushed my own limits and broken my own rules. This is also a rule I don't break, and I also will not be demonstrating, and you will see why, but I always wear an underwire bra. I know a lot of people find them uncomfortable. I don't really notice them because your torso is short. Your girls will make them shorter. It's just what gravity does, right? So by lifting them up as high as they can go, and the best way to do that I have found is underwire. I have not found anything that can compete. Add a little padding in there and you've got a lot of great support to keep them up and from sagging down onto your torso. I always get questions about which bra I recommend, so I will have the one I like linked down below. Convertible straps, love it. My next rule is about skirts and dresses. Now it's been a while since I've done a dresses video for short torsos, and not quite as long since I've done a skirts one. Make sure you're following me on my LTK as we start getting into summer. I will be sharing what I find that I like for short torsos over on there. I haven't decided yet on a whole video. Let me know in the comments below. But one of the main things I look at when choosing a skirt or a dress is whether or not it has a slit. To me, they always need a slit. That is my rule. I need at least one leg slit, if not two. I talked about this when I broke down Hailey Bieber's style. You change out a low neckline for a high neckline and you put a leg slit in something. Oh my gosh, perfect. Love it. Instant confidence. This can also be done in a low high hemline. Those aren't really on trend right now, but when those do come back, that is one I like as well. This is kind of a weird rule break, but we're just gonna go with it. If you can't do a slit in your skirt or your dress, get a shorter dress. Ideally, you want legs to be showing at some point, at some time, in some way. Even if those legs are covered up by tights or by boots or whatever. But would I pair a slit with a short skirt? No. The only way I would do that is if I am again matching my skirt to my top, making it all one piece, and that usually looks fine. My next rule, if you've been watching my channel for a while, probably comes as no surprise, but I'm gonna say it a little bit differently, and I think it's really helpful, is that I try to create vertical contrast on my torso when I can. So this is more of a jacket or a cardigan rule, anything that you're putting on top of your top. I try to choose a color that is contrasting so that when I'm wearing something light underneath and dark on top, I'm getting that nice light strip in the middle of my torso, lengthening it. I found this really helpful when you are wearing a boxy jacket. Right now, oversized, boxy are really on trend. To decide what I want to wear with those, I try to pick something that's in high contrast. So if I'm wearing a lighter jacket, wearing a darker top or vice versa. This almost creates vertical stripes in a non-vertical stripe kind of way. I've never been a huge fan of vertical stripes. Vertical contrast is what I like to call it. But outerwear is super helpful for lengthening your torso. It's just a little bit extra that can take part of the top of your pants or a lot of your pants and move it up just a bit and make it look a little more part of your torso. So if I'm not creating vertical contrast, it means I'm matching. So if my jacket is matching my top, there's a risk it could look a little boxy. So you could either match the box and just make all of the outfits the same color, or you can make the bottom half of your outfit a different color. Does that highlight the difference between your torso and legs? It does, but because the jacket is longer, it still lengthens out your torso. Try to find in those situations a top that does have some kind of V or scoop neck. You don't always want a high neck top when you're matching it with the jacket on top, because that's where it could start to look really boxy with your shoulders. It does depend on your shoulder type though. Another route you can go is making sure you're always pairing that top that's the same color as your jacket, making sure that that top is tighter. That'll create volume contrast. If you're wearing a boxier, looser, more oversized jacket with something tight on the bottom or underneath, that's gonna look really stylish and interesting and create enough of a differentiator so that your entire body doesn't look square. Now, I asked some of you over on my Instagram, what were some of the best short torso styling advice that I've given? Like I said earlier, I've been doing this now for 3 years on YouTube. And honestly, I feel like I could write a book on all of this. But a lot of you told me that your favorite styling advice lives in this video right here. So make sure to go watch that next if you want more short torso styling advice, and subscribe because of course, I'm gonna keep doing this. I've been doing it 3 years, why stop now?